1-0 defeat away to Spurs, a season-ending training injury to Ahmad, United now in 15th place. What a wonderful 72 hours that is for Manchester United. Honestly, I have a lot of sympathy for Ruben Amorim. I'd explain exactly what I mean when I say that, but he made some mistakes in that Spurs game, which I also want to discuss in more detail here. And both of those things can be true at the same time. Let's run through the biggest takeaways from that 1-0 defeat to Spurs in this season that absolutely looks dead and buried as far as the league is concerned. It's fair to say that United fans are frustrated. We're 15th in the league. Of course we're frustrated. What I want to do in this video is run through the game against Spurs, speak about the mistakes that Ruben Amorim made in that game, but also why I've got a hell of a lot of sympathy for him so far this season. I'll explain everything. You can let me know what you think in the comments. Not everyone's going to agree, but that's where the United fan base is right now. Not everyone is agreeing. I'm going to run through things. And the first thing I want to mention here is the fact that I do feel sorry for Ruben Amorim, all right? I don't feel sorry for him for the fact that he's navigated this period where we're now 15th, when we were 4th when he came in and 4 points off top 4. Improvement needs to happen. Of course it does. Of course it does. Do I feel sorry for Ruben Amorim for the fact that he's just gone and lost his best player in a random training ground accident, injury? Sure, yes I do. Do I feel sorry for the fact that he's got a club legend with over 600 appearances not helping his cause, but almost sounding like a Liverpool fan rather than a United fan? Yes, I do. Do I feel sorry for the fact that he doesn't have a goal scorer? Yes, I do. But this is the main reason. Ruben Amorim did not want this job mid-season. First of all, he didn't want to back out of Sporting mid-season, but he also was very aware of coming into what United is and the scale of the club and the job and just how difficult it was going to be. And to do that mid-season was never going to work. It was never going to work. It was never, ever, ever going to be like, boom, Ten Hag's gone, boom, Amorim, great, we're on. We're off. Let's not try and pretend that we expected otherwise. What we didn't expect was United to be 15th. And I'm going to speak about mistakes and things that I think that Amorim can improve. But to see, and I'm just presuming they are trolls, presuming, I might be wrong, but I'm presuming that the discourse around Amorim this and then, ooh, sacking Amorim is just... I love the honesty of Ruben Amorim. I want him to stay true to his system because I have seen a manager before him who came in and just did whatever he wanted to their players and just did whatever he needed just to get results here or there. And what did that change? Sweet F.A. And he ended up exactly where Amorim would end up if he just threw it all out the window just to get a couple of results. If United fans want a rebuild, United fans, I think, say largely they want a rebuild until the rebuild starts happening and they go, oh, actually, never mind, I want the old one back before ever seeing it through. But for Ruben, he made some mistakes in that Spurs game and they need to be discussed because this isn't like a get off scot-free sort of thing. I thought playing Casemiro was a decision that he had no choice about, really. Eriksen, Ugarte, and Mainu, and Collier all getting injured. I mean, I had no choice but to start Casemiro. But to start Casemiro and then play Bruno in a sort of man-marking role that splits the midfield when Casemiro isn't going to have the legs to cover that space on his own, I think that was a mistake. And I think that's where the criticism from the tactical setup was fair from Gary Neville. They definitely took it too far. And that was on Ruben Amorim. I think he should have kept those two tighter together, maybe sat in more of a deeper shape in the way that we had played against Liverpool and Arsenal, where that worked. I think that would have worked better in that game and kept the midfield a lot tighter. But he wanted to be more progressive and aggressive, and it kind of was counterproductive. And I thought the decision to leave the whole bench unused until Chido for the last 3 minutes was a mistake. Now, Ruben has explained that he feels that he was doing that from a protection perspective of the players. And some of those players on that bench were not ready. They were there for numbers because of how many injuries we had in a mad, mad week of players getting injured and falling ill. But I don't think you could tell me that keeping Casemiro on until the last 2 minutes of the game was a necessity. Sekou Kone could have come on and at the very, very least, out of possession, helped United with the shape and the legs and the athleticism I think that Jack Fletcher doesn't even play defensive midfielder, man, but I still the same thing. Same conversation could have been had about him. I think if you play Morehouse slightly further up, I think he could have come on because Xerxes and Hoyland were both looking absolutely knackered. I thought that was a mistake from Ruben Amorim. I said that after the game. I was disappointed. Let's see what goes on moving forward. But from a positive perspective, let's not overlook the fact that Chido has just made his Manchester United debut. Signed in the summer from Arsenal, has continued, scored a hat-trick this last week for the under-18s against Chelsea in the FA Youth Cup, and now he's made his debut. Don't let that result overshadow that. Congratulations to you, Chido. You've broken through into the first team at Manchester United, and let's see what goes on next. Amorim thought he was ready enough to come off the bench there for the last few minutes. I thought he deserved the last 15, 20, because Hoyland and Xerxes were both exhausted by that point. And we weren't scoring goals. I know that we were creating chances, but we weren't scoring goals. And I've already mentioned that as a mistake. But just in isolation, congratulations to Chido. And I hope we see more of him. And we will see more of him because I said at the start there, and I'll say it again, Ruben Amorim doesn't have a goal scorer. We had so many chances yesterday. Could have easily won that game. Should have won that game, I think. Didn't score anything. It's been a problem under Erik ten Hag. It's been a problem for the last how many years at United? I've got no idea. But way too many. But speaking of Xerxes and Hoyland, I want to focus on Xerxes here and also Dorgu, because Xerxes, I thought it was fantastic yesterday in terms of what that role was. That role was not the goal-scoring elite striker role. No, it was him playing in the number 10 role. Lo and behold, Xerxes is better if you play him there. Who could possibly have predicted that? Apart from anybody who watched him at Bologna and knew what sort of game he played, he is an interlink player. He loves thriving in the small spaces. He's a technical player. He's got great close ball control. That's the natural aspects of his game. And I thought he played really well. His mobility is probably his biggest problem at United. He's not got that sort of fast twitch movement. Can't really change pace, change direction extremely quickly. He's quite cumbersome in that sense, and that will be a weakness of his game, and that's why he's not as good out of possession. But Xerxes was excellent yesterday. If you're going to play him, then you're going to need a more mobile midfield behind and probably a more mobile number 9 in front, because there are weaknesses in his game, but play him in that role, you'll get much more of him than you would playing him as a number 9. And I thought Dorgu was excellent. It frustrated me, and I'm sure it frustrated him as well, that Garnacho was sort of overlooking, basically ignoring his runs and cutting inside every time. But what I saw there was the sort of... I think he won every duel that he sort of competed for. He was solid. And I think it was an impressive. There was a good performance from Dorgu. And I want to see more of that. I want to see him getting used more. I want to see those runs getting used more. That was an overlapping wing-back. Just the Garnacho ignored him. But I'm going to go back to it there and say this. I think anybody who's just trying to say, oh yeah, sack the manager, is just they have to be trolls. They can't be United fans. I don't want him to change his system, and that won't change. That opinion won't change. No matter how many results I see, it won't change. Because I've seen a manager, literally just a manager was here before in Erik ten Hag, chop and change, game by game. Get a result away at Villa. Oh, get a result away at Burnley. What does that change? Sweep. Oh. Because then you have no idea of what the actual identity of your team is meant to be. It's a mishmash. I know what our identity is right now, and it's absolutely awful. But I know the direction he's going, and I want him to keep driving there. And fans are going to have to stick with him until the end of the season and get him that summer, because the summer, boy, oh boy, oh boy, that we have a big summer ahead. But frustration, yeah. Watching United now is torturous.